Well, hello. Welcome to Financial Management. So this week is February 26th, 24th, 26th, and we're going to, usually finish the first module, 1010, Money and Youth. And this is a little bit of a sort of a in-between week. And we'll just go beyond the curriculum in 1010 and talk some of the newer things in finance, all right? So first thing that I do want to talk about is fraud. Uh, Fraud, financial fraud, right? Scams. And I have this website from Ontario that talks about, what scams are, how to identify them. That's probably the trickiest part. And then what to do, unfortunately, if you have been a victim of a scam or a fraud. So, so basically, when someone asks you for money, any sort of money, right? That's when you should be alert, right? So scammers can pretend to be anyone from your family, your bank, your your company, your cell phone company, for example, right? Or places like Amazon or Costco, right? Or Temu or Wayfair or Etsy or whatever, or even the government, right? There are so many examples of scams that is like, hey, you won a lottery or you have a tax return that's due, right? And our email system, at least for Gmail that I use, right, is quite good in capturing all the scams that are out there. But you still have to be careful, right? And if you're concerned about whether a request for money is legit or not, well, you should search for the normal channels, right? So one way is to Google the company name. So like you can say TELUS, for example, phone number, right? And you could get to something like that, right? What unfortunately though, let's say Air Canada phone number, right? And Google comes up, oh, it's this number, and you say, oh, okay, I'll just call that number then. But sometimes scammers have been known to very, very sneakily change and manipulate Google. So in this case, you really want to go to the Air Canada website and make sure you want the number is published on the Air Canada website, right? And FYI, if it's an aeroplan, like a points ticket, it's a different number too. So be careful. So for in this instance, Air Canada's phone number in Google is correct. But there are situations where the phone number is incorrect. Okay. So be careful. So what are some types of scams that are out there? There's what's called hyperlink scam, so a URL, a web address scam. When you're to send an email or some sort of message on WhatsApp or Telegram or Discord and say, click on this link. Well, that's the type of scam, right? Hyperlink scam. And not just a financial scam, but I think also install malware, right? So virus and tracking software onto your computer when you click on those links. You can also get those scams through text messages, telephone scams, email scams, and social media, right? So someone can send you a DM on social media saying, hey, it's from TELUS, your account is overdue, click on this link to pay your bill, right? Very, very common, very easy way to scam you. There are also scams out there that say, oh, hey, I made a lot of money through this website or this Bitcoin or this cryptocurrency exchange, right? That's probably a scam too, right? Anything pumped through social media, and you have to basically use non-traditional methods to invest or to send money to them. That's probably a sign of scam. Similarly, QR codes in social media posts could be illegitimate and cause you money. Okay, so those are some ways that the scam could get to you. Well, what are the signs of a scam, right? So let's say you click through it for instance, or someone comes to you and say, hey, I found this great deal on the internet, right? Well, if the scam says, oh, you have to make a decision quickly, right? You have to respond in 24 hours or less in 2 hours, right? Then that's a scam. In fact, this is also a key technique used by TV sales, right? Like those late night TV sales that you may or may not have seen or your parents have seen, and you have to buy in the next 15 minutes to get this deal or to get a bonus, right? Any sort of pressure that is enforced on you unnecessarily, well, that is often a sign of a scam. Okay. Urgent messages, same thing, right? You have to do this right away. If they ask you, keep the matters to yourself, like don't tell your parents or don't tell your friends, well, that's a big red flag. And being asked to send money in unusual formats like gift cards, bitcoins, any crypto really, or prepaid credit cards, right? Those are scams. And also, there's what's called a prepayment scam, where they say, can you go buy something at the store and do a quality control, and the product costs maybe $20, but then they send you $500 and say, oh, sorry, or $200 and say, oh, sorry, we made a mistake on the check. You just cash the $200 check, spend the $20, and then send us back the $180, right? Well, that $200 check was probably fake, but now you send the scammers $180, right? So that's sending money in an unusual form or receiving money in an unusual format too. You get an email out of the blue from someone, and a sign of a scam, and scammers pretending to be from banks or from TELUS, right, cell phone companies that ask for your credit card information or even your confirmation code, right? Those are all examples of scams. So how can you sort of protect yourself from getting scammed? Well, in Google, in Gmail, right, the spam folder is pretty good, sometimes too good. And it, it will block or it will divert any scammy emails away from your inbox. If you get messages from unknown sender, right, don't open them or follow any links. Don't pay any money upfront, right? Let's say if you're I don't know, you're going to get a new job, right? You're applying for a job. Well, no real job application is going to require you to give them money to help, right? Those websites like Indeed and LinkedIn, they get paid from the company. They don't get paid from you, right? So when you apply for a job, you don't need to pay any money on the website. Okay. Look for the secure symbol on your internet. So the secure symbol is not on this one, or is it? No, it's not. So it should start the URL, the internet address should start with HTTPS. All right, that's one way to tell. Don't DM or email or text something like your credit card number. Right, that's a simple one. Protect your business against scams. Well, same idea, but in this case, you have to be alert of companies, right? Fake companies or front companies sending you information and say, hey, click on here. You owe us a bill. Okay. So here are some examples of scams that you can click on. Okay. And if you do find a scam, right, or approached by a scammer, best thing to do is to ignore it. But stop communicating with them, just ignore it. You may want to change your passwords if you have been in communication with the scammer. And then, should you fall victim to a scam, right, you should report it to the what's called Canadian Anti-Fraud Center, and they will try to help you get your money back, but it's probably not feasible. Okay. questions on that on scam? Like this page is okay. It's not a bad page, and I'll include the link to this page in our discussion post. Questions from the chat room? Okay. Something else I want to discuss with you that's outside the curriculum for 1010 is something called robo-advisors, right? So let's say you're over 18, you've graduated, you have a job, you're saving some money, right? And now you want to save for retirement, for a car, or whatever, right? And you don't want to just have a GIC or a savings account. You want to invest your money into bonds and stocks. Well, one sort of simple way to do is through something called the robo-advisor, right? And the robo-advisor, there are a couple of them out there. They're called Wealthsimple or what's it? Questrade has one. Wealthsimple is the most known one. WS. And these robo-advisors work by getting you to enter in some data, right? So how much do you have to invest? How long you are willing to invest for? And what's called your risk tolerance. And then they take a little bit of money from you, not too much, it's actually quite reasonable. And then they will tell you what fund, what mutual fund, what ETF funds that you should invest in. And then every 6 months or every year, they will come back to you and say, hey, do you want to review your scenario, right? So it's really not a bad way to invest, right? So let's say here, some of these fees are 0.25%, some are even less at 0.04%. So, it's a good way for you to investigate and to invest small amounts of money. Oh, question from the previous one. Can you report a scam that you suspect? Yes. So for the Canadian Anti-Fraud Center, there is a section that has you can report a scam, and it's not about the scam that you've fallen victim to, but also report any type of fraud, right? It could be new fraud that you could alert them to, and they can send out alerts or send out warnings if applicable. Okay, so the last part I want to talk about is just financial planning, right? And this comes from what's called the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, which is a branch of the federal government of Canada. And on this page, there are several case studies, several scenarios for you to look through, right? So in this one, it says planning through your life. So what are some situations, right? It says new graduate. Probably you think that means you. Actually, it's not. It's for college or university graduates. Probably the most relevant one for you guys is planning for education, right? So in this example, Natalie and her daughter Louise managed to get by a tight budget, but barely. When Louise needs new clothes or money, Natalie might have to work extra hours or cut things out. But when Louise was 14, she said to want to study veterinary health at college. So her mom, Natalie, knew it would be expensive. So they had a talk and how they would save money for high school, for university. So he's a small plan how to use money is really important when you're on a budget. Small savings can add up, right? So like $10 a week, $20 a week can add up, and just have a different savings account designated for that fund, for that goal that you're setting. A plan helps you with a timeline so you know when to expect and you're going off track. And then managing that plan will give you a sense of satisfaction and security. All right. Another good case study is getting into music business. So perhaps after high school, you want to play in a band and go through and earn money that way, either as a side gig or a main job. Well, here's a scenario that Christopher can go through. Again, planning lets you identify your needs and your problems and how to overcome them. And it's essential for your business. In the next module, we'll start talking about accounting, and accounting is recording your plans, your expenses, so that you can plan ahead for the future. Okay. So again, it's planning is really important when on your budget or your finances are irregular, right? So things like band and music and art. Some days you have some weeks you have a lot of gigs, or in some weeks you may not have a lot of gigs, right? So again, just plan it up, right? The phrase is, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Right? That's just a common saying. It doesn't have to be true, but for overall, not just in finances, right? Planning is useful. It's important, I would say.